Hi there, Phil McGilvray here, founder of Grandma's Jars and passionate budget coach. In this video, we're continuing on with our series on how to budget. In the last video, I looked at the very basics of establishing a budget. Now, a budget is so important because a budget will help us keep track of our spending and tell us exactly how much we've got left to spend at any point in time. And that's really important if we want to consistently save money. So what I took you through was the system where we put aside 1/12 of all our future expenses, so that when those bills and expenses turn up or when we need to spend some money on something, the money is sitting there ready to pay for it. So that's a very simple system where I've got my pay on a monthly basis. I put aside 1/12 of every single expense so that when those expenses turn up, I have the money sitting aside ready to pay them. It's also very powerful because I'm able to go, here's my monthly income, here's what I allocate to all my expenses on a monthly basis, and here is what I've got left at the end of the month. This is how much money I've got left to use to do the things that are really important to me. And that's why we have a budget. A budget has two purposes, really. The first one is to help us pay for our bills and expenses as they turn up. And the second purpose for a budget is to ensure that we have some money left over at the end of each month. Now, it's a very good system, a very simple system, putting aside 1/12. However, there is one problem with it in the first year. And that is, and I'll use the example that I used in the previous video. Let's just say I've got car registration. The car registration on an annual basis is $600. So that means if I divide it by 12, I should be putting aside $50 per month so that when that bill turns up, I've got the money sitting aside ready to pay it. So in this example, you can see that I'm putting aside $50 in January, $50 February, $50 March, and it accumulates in that jar until the expense turns up in December. Awesome, I've got the money there to pay for it, I feel good about it, no juggling, the money's there. However, what happens if I'm starting my budget in January, but my rego, my car registration, is actually due in June and not December? What that means is if I'm putting $50 per month aside every month, when I get to June, I'm only going to have saved $300. And that means I'm going to be $300 short, and I'm going to be going, the stupid budget just doesn't work. You know, you put all your faith in it, and it's now not working, and it's very, very frustrating. So an important thing you need to go through from the word go is sit down and identify when are all your expenses due. Now, if you've downloaded and used the budget worksheets, and please, you can still do that. They're in our description. There's a link to them in our description, or you can find them on our Grandma's Jars website. You'll notice that there is a column there saying, when is this expense next due? Now, it's only really relevant for expenses that are quarterly or by term or by half year or annually. It's only really relevant to those expenses. But what you want to do is go through and identify what are those expenses and when are they next due, so that we can work out, or you can work out, what sort of shortfall you are going to have if you're only putting aside 1/12 every month. It's only going to hurt you or impact you in the first year, but if you can be prepared for it, then that's half the battle won. Now, what I quickly want to talk about now is two strategies that we use to help people overcome this. The first one is that where possible, if you've got some savings or if you've got the capacity to sell something to raise some money, if you can find the funds, what I recommend that you do is from day one, you find that shortfall amount. So for instance here, if our car registration is due in June and we're putting $50 a month aside, we know that we're going to be $300 short. So if you have $300 in savings or $300 that you can find somewhere else to top that jar up straight away, then it's going to allow you to put $50 per month aside so that when that bill turns up, the money is sitting there to pay it. Now, that is my preferred option, but I understand that people that are struggling with their finances, and that may be you don't have $300 extra. If you did, it'd all be easy. So the next strategy that I encourage people to consider is, instead of putting aside $50 per month, figure out how many months it is till that expense is due. So in this case, if it's due in 6 months, I divide the $600 car registration. That means I need to be putting $100 a month aside for that first 6 months until the bill turns up for the first time. And then from then on, I can put $50 a month aside. But being prepared for it is half the battle. Now, when I work with my clients at Grandma's Jars, in the budgeting system that we use, which I showed you in the last session, the system actually calculates what your budget shortfall will be, and then we can adjust the jars like this. And what we try to do is we adjust the jars from the word go so that it becomes a benchmark. We know that that's how much money we need to have in the jar. We may not have that money straight away in our bank account, but what we do is we use our surpluses over subsequent months to start topping those jars up. So it's sort of a bit of a hybrid option in that we're using our surplus to sort of build those savings in those jars so that when the expense turns up, the money is there. So there you have it. I'm warning you about it because this is one of the biggest reasons people's budgets fail. The first one is that they don't accurately understand all their expenses to start with, so that when the big bills start turning up and they haven't factored them into the budget fails. But the second big reason is not preparing for the fact that in that first year, you are very, very likely to have some sort of budget shortfall on your annual, quarterly, or half-yearly expenses. So take the time, list the expenses that are due quarterly, half-yearly, or annually, figure out when the due dates for them are, and work out which strategy you are going to use to try and prepare for them. I hope that makes sense to you. Look, it is really important that you get this because it will help you overcome these obstacles that cause so many other people to fail. As you can tell, we love what we do. We are good at what we do. We've been doing this for 15 years. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. As I've said in many videos before, our priority is 4 things that we help people with. 4 priorities that we have. First one is we want to show you how to budget realistically in a way that really works. We want to help you break the paycheck cycle. We want to help you eliminate debt. And we want to help you save towards the things that are really, really important to you. So please subscribe to our channel. We release 2 videos a week. If you've got any questions, please feel free to leave them in our comments section and we will answer those questions as we go. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel today.